Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review everything. Now I saw the trailer for this film and like, this looks really stupid, but figured I'd give it a chance and go see it, and much to my surprise, this movie wasn't complete trash. Yay! So I enjoyed it a little bit. I didn't think it was a good movie, and I didn't think it was a terrible movie. It kind of fell somewhere in between where it had some potential. There are some positive things about this film, but overall it fell on towards the side of, am I going to remember this? Am I going to care about this later? Most likely not. Now, this film was directed by Stella Meggy, and overall, she does a pretty good job of telling the story in a logical way. It makes sense, it's well paced, nothing stays too stuck at a certain point too long where you're sitting there like, oh my god, just keep going. It has a pretty brisk pace. You're going through this film. I think one of the most positive things I could say about the directing in this film is how they use some forms of storytelling. Now, they heavily got this from, say, Woody Allen romantic comedies, but there was a particular scene that I thought was used very well where the two characters, the main girl and this guy that she's has a huge crush on, that they're getting along, they're having this conversation, they're alone for the first time, and little subtitles come up about what's actually going on in their head, what they're really saying, the subtext to what their lines were saying. And yeah, it's been used before, but I thought it was used pretty well in this moment where they're feeling really awkward and nervous, and I thought it was a nice little sight gag to give a little humor to the situation. And also, when she's stuck in her home and he's in his home, what they use is her imagination, her coming up with things, and them having this conversation in some kind of dreamlike area. And I thought that was pretty cool because it really hammered in the feeling that when she spoke to him, she felt like she was living outside in a different world, not cooped up in her home. And I thought those were used very well. This did have a bit of tonal issues. There are some heavy, serious moments, but overall, the tone of this film is made to be high, glossy, very modern looking film that doesn't dig too deep in terms of the emotion it's trying to show, but then tries to hit with scenes that are very devastating, and it kind of doesn't fit very well. Now, the screenplay was done by J. Mills Goodlew, and here's some of the big issues with the film. The main character, I liked the character. I thought she, for the most part, for a teenage girl, was pretty good and pretty well written and can make connections with her. The boy was definitely very awkward. He was written that way, and overall, their romance was very endearing. And it might have seemed like it's really going too quickly, but the thing is, I'm 25 years old. I've been there. Young love, things hit off really quickly, and it's realistic for young people to get succumbed to by those feelings, especially for the first time, especially because this girl's been locked up in her house her whole life. Of course, the first guy she's going to see who's pretty good looking and is a decent guy is going to like, oh my god, I love this guy kind of thing. That didn't bother me. I thought that was believable. The mother in this film felt very one note, and there were some places the story went that felt a little, oh god, is it really going to that place? And I don't know how I felt about that. But I think the best thing is that this film really gets to the point, it doesn't linger too long, and it sticks to the driving force where it's going and leading up to this young woman finding her freedom, finding herself, finding the life she wants to live. And overall, I think it did a decent job of that. And in terms of the cinematography, which was done by Igor Jadu, it's very high glossy, very sterile looking, and they do go to certain locales, like they go to Hawaii, and that is very beautiful. And there are some inspired shots. There is a cool crane shot that was used when they were first going into the ocean. And there's a couple of times where you saw shots that were inspired and well done, and like, oh, this could have that kind of style to it, but for the most part, it's pretty point and shoot kind of cinematography and nothing too special. And in terms of the music, Ludwig Göransson did the music. I didn't think the music was super special, but it fit well. It felt fit with the tone. It felt with this millennial love story, this young person love story of today. The music felt hit that. The music hit the beats that it was supposed to. Could it be a little manipulative at points? Yeah, but honestly, I think it did a decent job of hitting what it was supposed to be doing, and I'll give it credit for that. Now, the acting. Amandla Stenberg, who played Rue actually in Hunger Games, is the main girl here, and I thought she was really endearing. I thought that the choices she made, the facial expressions she used, the body language she used, made her very, very endearing and also believable as a love struck teenage girl. And I believe that very much. Now, Nick Robinson, who played the young man, he had a lot of very one note, like he did the same slouching over kind of thing the whole movie. Hey, I'm awkward. Some of his line delivery was really bad. But the thing is, to be perfectly honest, the worst thing I think about this film is some of the dialogue was horrendous. It was really bad, and I remember watching the trailer where he's like, yeah, I'm a lot sexier, right? Yeah, that was really bad. And not only was the line bad, but how he delivered it was really bad too. And I'm like, okay, maybe it'll feel more organic in context and not just in the trailer. No, it felt awkward, and not in like, oh, I'm an awkward kind of guy kind of way. It's just really bad dialogue and very cliched dialogue. And these are two young actors that tried to do their best with it. And then you also have Erika Noni Rose, who plays the mother, and there's points where I really liked her. I thought she brought some heft to the proceedings of this film and brought it in some scenes. In other scenes, I thought she was really wooden and kind of her line delivery wasn't the greatest, especially when the dialogue didn't match a higher quality. When she was given bad dialogue, it didn't seem like she did a very good job of elevating the dialogue. So overall, this is a kind of throwaway movie. It's not something that's going to be very memorable, and I'm not going to give it quite a this was a good movie kind of grade. I am going to give everything a C minus.